This conference will now be recorded.
So in yesterday's class, in your previous class, we were in an impression that PEGA is used for developing internal applications. So now let us discuss more on that. So if we work on any organization, if we work in any organization, if we have, I think so if we have one main website, they will be having multiple internal applications. So PEGA is mainly used for developing those internal applications. So let me take one small example. Suppose if you are working in Citibank organization, so this is our organization like Citibank. So for any organization, as discussed, they will be having multiple internal applications. No, suppose if it is having 3 or 4 applications. So they will be having one application for account creation and one application for loans, one application for credit cards and reward points. Like this, they'll be having many internal applications. Suppose if you join in this organization, so if you are getting a requirement, if your manager is asking us to develop this account creation portal. Yeah, 1 second. So 1 second, Tulani. Uma is facing some audio issues, it seems. You can hear me, no? Uma could not hear me, it seems.
I can hear you perfectly.
I'm asking her to rejoin once. Yes, Uma, you can hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Please go ahead. Sorry.
So what I was talking is, in our previous class, we were in an impression that PEGA is used for developing internal applications. Suppose if you're working in any organization like Citibank, it will be having many internal applications like account creation, loans and credit card management, reward points, salary management. Likewise, they will be having n number of internal applications. And suppose if you're a developer, you joined in this city organization as a developer, and if your manager is asking you to work on this account creation portal. So if you get a requirement to design this account creation portal, so based on this requirement, we'll be working on that. The basic thing what we'll be having in this account creation portal will be like, we have to create our first name. So first name details should be captured. We have to design few things like last name, age should be there, gender, mail ID, and mobile number. So these will be the basic things that we will be having created in this first account creation portal. Okay, so once you are done with this design, if you are done with this account creation portal design, so the next requirement what you are getting is you have to work on this loan creation portal. So even on this loan creation portal also we'll be having same kind of properties. So there also what you are trying to do, you are trying to create the same set of properties again. So likewise we will be creating for each and every portal. So once you are done with this all four screens, once you are done with this all four applications, then you will be coming to know that you are trying to do some repetitive work. So the section what you are designing in this first application seems to be the same what you are trying to implement in the second application. Likewise, so instead of we following the same instead of we doing the same repetitive process, if we can maintain all these reusable things into one place and we can simply reuse those, no? So we have created first name property, last name property, all these in this account creation portal, and in the second portal also we are trying to do the same, and in the third also. So in all these implementation applications, I'll tell you what is implementation. In all these internal applications, if you are trying to have common repetitive things, instead of we designing it again and again in each and every application, we can able to maintain this in one common place. So if we just maintain all this in one common place, like library kind of thing, if I just maintain in one place, and wherever I want to use this, I can able to just reuse those, no? Suppose if I want to have this first name last name properties in this account creation portal, I can just simply reuse it from there, from this library. And if I want to use the same set of components into my second application, I can simply reuse those, no? So here in this whole process, what we're trying to do, we're trying to reuse the components. So instead of we doing the same repetitive work, the components what you feel that it will be useful and reusable, we will be maintaining it one library, and from there we can able to reuse it in wherever the application we want. We can able to reuse this. So in this way we can able to maintain the reusability. So agree with this, no? So this kind of library maintaining thing, we call it as a framework application. So technically we call this as a framework application. So framework application, what are the components where we feel that it will be useful, we'll be creating it in the framework, and all the internal applications what we were discussing so far, those will be called as an implementation applications. So all these are called as an implementation applications. So if you want me to redesign this, so this is our city application, we'll be having one application called framework, that will be considered as an library, and all the implementation applications, that is internal applications as per our knowledge, all these internal applications will be connected to that library. So technically this will be called as a framework, and all the internal applications or the business processing applications are called as an implementation applications. So if this is my organization, it will be having one framework application, and it might be having n number of implementation applications. So what are all the components we want to use that for the reusability, we will be creating it in the framework. Once we have that ready in the framework, we can able to reuse it in n number of implementation applications. So that's the concept of that's the importance of framework application. So it is not mandatory that we need to have framework application for any organization. So there will be projects in real time also where they will not be having frameworks, but most of the projects will be having frameworks. So PRPC, what I'll tell you what is PRPC. PEGA just recommends us to have one framework application minimum. We can able to have n number of framework applications also. Having framework application is like we can able to reuse the components. We cannot able to we need not do the same kind of work in each and every implementation application. So that's the importance of framework applications. So the city organization can able to have one more framework application also. So if this is my framework application, and what are all the implementation applications connected to those that will be acting like an parent or library to this. Suppose this is our account creation portal. So in this account creation portal, if this is connected as a framework to this, then what are all the components we have in this particular framework we can able to reuse in this application one. If I'm having another framework application like framework 2, let us consider this as framework 1. If I have another framework application like framework 2, and what are all the components we have in this framework 2, and if I want to reuse it in this implementation one, that is not possible. That concept comes under inheritance. I'll tell you in our coming classes. So as of now, I think you are clear the concept, the usage of framework application. No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we may be having at the max of 3 or 4 framework applications as per my experience. So I have seen the project. I have worked in a project where they are maintaining 4 framework applications also, and I have worked in a project where there is no framework application also. So it is just an recommendation from PRPCN. So based on the project criticality and project functionality, they will be maintaining framework application, or they may not be maintaining framework application. If you want to create anything which is specific to that implementation application, we can able to create in that application alone. And if you are trying to feel that the component what you are trying to create it today, it might be reusable some other time, then what you have to do, you have to create it in the framework application. So considering our previous example, like designing an account creation portal. So you are done with designing of or creating components like first name, last name, age, mobile, and gender. And the same things you have created in the credit card application also. Suppose if you are getting any new requirement, so once you are done with this credit card design portal, if you are getting a new requirement, like you have to add one more component in this credit card application, like you need to add like expected credit card limit. So you have to add one more field like expected credit card limit in one of the implementation application. So you're getting my point, no? Am I going fast, or you following me, no?
You're following.
Yes. So if you're working in this credit card application, which is one of the implementation applications, and in that if you want to add one more component like expected credit card limit, so if that is our one of the component or the label, so we can directly create it in the implementation application, that is credit card application. Okay, why? Because we may not be reusing it in my account creation portal or salary management portal or reward point section. Okay, so these kind of things, before you working on anything, you have to first identify the scope of that particular component. So you may be creating either sections or properties or any kind of rules. So in PRPC, everything will be called as an rule, I'll tell you. So if you're trying to create any kind of component today, might be meeting the requirement for that sake, but you should be identifying the scope also. So if you are creating it in the implementation application, you have to identify that you should be confident enough that this may not be reused in some other places, then only you have to create it in the implementation. Okay, and if you feel that this particular component you are creating today might be reusable in some other places also, then you have to straight away go ahead and create it in the framework application. So you will be given access to the framework application as well. Okay, so likewise we can able to increase the reusability. So if you just create it in the framework, and if you're trying to reuse it in your credit card application today, and some other person in your organization working on some other implementation application like salary management, and if he is trying to create one more component there for that day, what he will be doing, he will not be directly creating the component in that application. First, what he has to do, he has to first check in the framework application whether those kind of properties or the components is already existing or not. If it is existing, then he can simply reuse those. Yes, he should be creating it in the framework. Or if it is used only in the implementation application, he can straight away create it in the implementation application. So the final thing what I'm trying to say is you have to identify the scope of the component what you are trying to create. So based on the scope only, reusability will be increased. So in PEGA, as a developer, you join, you will be given with one operator ID. So each and every operator will be having one compliance score. So how perfectly you design, that score will be defined. I mean, you'll be getting that the better score. So if you are getting complaint score between 80 to 90, it will be considered that you are following the best practices. Okay, PRPC can able to easily identify the reusability also based on your operator ID. If you are trying to reuse or if you are trying to use the creating the component for each and every single requirement, it can easily identify. So based on the complaint score, your manager will be deciding your bands or ratings appraisals. So that's secondary. So now you got the point. No, you got the importance of your framework application. No. So any doubts so far? So this is my city organization, and I can able to have one framework for insurance. Let us say why, because Citibank can able to provide insurance for vehicles as well as for the medical. Likewise, no? Suppose it is providing insurance for vehicles, and it is also providing insurance for health. So if this is my organization structure, so this will be considered as an one of the implementation application, and this will be considered as an another implementation application. So if I feel anything specific to this health implementation, I will be creating it here only. Similarly, if we feel anything specific to vehicle, we will be creating it here. And if we feel anything that will be commonly used in between these two, we will be creating it here. So for every organization, they will be having minimum of one framework application nowadays, and there will be application where they are not having framework applications also with their projects. And based on this, we will be having the component specifically defined. So clear now?
Yeah, clear.
So you install this PEGA software. No? Now I'll show you how to create one framework application, and on top of this, how to create one implementation application. So once you have installed the software, on desktop you will be having three icons: the start icon, login icon, and shutdown icon. Okay. So if we should be just clicking on the start icon, one command prompt will be coming like this. So we'll be getting one command prompt like this. Just wait for 5 or 6 minutes. Then after you have to double click on the login icon, which is all automatically installed on your desktop. So if you just double click on this login icon, you will be getting this screen. So the first thing what you have to do is you have to log in here as an administrator. So you have to create one application. No? So application can be created by administrators initially. So this is the login, administrator@pega.com, and password is install. I'll share you the document as well. In that you will be having step-by-step screenshot and all the corresponding details. You need not worry. Okay. So this is our PEGA software. And first, initially, before creating any application, we have to log in. We have to use these credentials. So in our course, we will be implementing one health insurance application from the scratch. We'll be first initially creating one framework application, and we'll be creating one implementation application, and that will be completely related to medical health insurance. How the customer can able to create new policy, and how he can able to claim his medical bills likewise. So this is most important. So PEGA software is mainly used for health insurance and banking. So password is installed. So once we log into our application, the first screen what we'll be getting is this one. Okay. So this is called the header bar, where we can able to see the application name and the corresponding configurations here. And if we want to launch to any other portal, we should be using this. And if you want to create any kind of rules, or if you want to create the new case or work objects, I'll tell you about all this more technical. So this is considered as an header bar. And the left side, this will be considered as an explorer. Here we can able to have app explorer, data types explorer, records, and case types. So this will be considered as an app explorer. And in the top we'll be having recents. What are all the rules we are opening? The top 20 rules will be stored here in this recent. And the bottom thing, footer one, this will be considered as an development tools. We'll be having tracer, clipboard, live UI, and these many development tools where we can able to debug if we are getting any wrong output. Okay, so this is just for the advertisement. So PEGA Infinity, meaning from PEGA 8 version onwards, they have renamed this as PEGA Infinity, and this is just for the promotion. And we'll be getting PEGA community news. You can ignore these two. So once we log into PEGA application, the first thing what we have to do is we have to create one framework application. So that is our expectation, no? So without we creating any kind of application so far, we are seeing something called application. Application name is showing like PEGA platform. So soon after we log in and we have not created any application, and by default it is showing something like PEGA platform. So PEGA platform is one predefined application which is already there. So in this PEGA, everything is called as an rule. If you are trying to create one application, that will be called as an application rule. And if you are trying to create one decision, it will be considered as a decision rule. If you're trying to create one section, property, or anything, everything will be considered as an rule. So that's why this will be considered as an PRPC, PEGA rules process commander. So this is a commander where it can able to maintain all the rules. So PEGA is the organization name which has invented this tool. Actually, the name of this tool is PRPC, not PEGA. Most of the people will be calling this as an PEGA tool, which is not actually correct. We have to call this as an PRPC tool. The name of this tool is PRPC, PEGA rules process commander, and PEGA is the organization which has invested on this. So people with less knowledge call this as an PEGA tool, but this came into we got accustomed in calling this as PEGA tool only. So finally we should be calling this as an PRPC tool, PEGA rules process commander, where everything will be considered as a rule. So soon after we log in, we are seeing something called PEGA platform. So in PRPC, whatever we see that is not defined by us, that should be considered as an OOTB. OOTB meaning out of the box, like predefined. So what are all the predefined rules which are already there here in PRPC that should be considered as an out of the box? So by just saying this, we will be thinking that meaning will be like opposite, but don't get confused. Predefined. So application, PEGA platform is one application which is already predefined, and we have to call this as an OOTB application. So likewise, there will be many OOTB applications. So in the first class, we have seen that there is one OOTB application called send email notification. So if you remember, we can able to open it from here also. Why? Because I recently opened. So this is one of the activity rule. So I told you what is activity. No, activity meaning automated Java code. Automated Java code is kept in some method names, and we'll call it as an activity. So this is the activity which we have not created. So if we are not creating anything, that should be called as an OOTB. So send email notification is one OOTB activity which is already there, and this is used for this is used for sending email notifications. Okay, so I think you got the point what is OOTB. So what I was trying to say is there is one OOTB application called PEGA platform which is already there, and if you want to create any kind of application, we have opened this in order to create one framework application. No? So if we are trying to create any kind of application on top of this, we have to click on this arrow and click on new application. So if we just click on new application, we have to will be getting one wizard where we can able to create one framework application. So once we have created one framework application, what we will be doing, we will be creating another application for the implementation. So that is our approach. So we are in an impression that we have to create one application for medical claims, like medical insurance application, where I'll be creating framework application for insurance and Impl.
Hello, Chandra. Can you hear me? Actually, I can't hear you.
Tulani, we are able to hear you.
Okay, I can hear Uma, but I can't hear Chandra.
Oh, so have you connected with the computer or by the phone?
No, I connected with my laptop.
Laptops, right? Okay, I'll inform him. So you did a mute, right? So you removed it? Can you
Hello.
chat with him? Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Chandra. Can you hear me?